It's the 7th day of February 2016, and this is the Radical Agnostic. I'm saying it like I'm scolding you.
Say it like you mean it.
My name's John. We got Mark, my co-host.
Hi.
We got the stowaway guest. Yes. Bryan Richter, everybody.
I'm in here.
And the other guest, Eddie West.
Insert greeting here.
Nice. And we are already rolling, folks. As usual. Lots of little topics to talk about. This is going to be a Richter-centric show, I think, until I start endlessly talking and bringing it into my own realm. Or Mark gets mad.
I'm going to try not to instigate Mark.
Yeah. Good luck.
I don't want to face the wrath.
I'm already on the edge.
I know.
My team's not in the fucking game, man.
Mine either. I don't care. That's the great part about not having a pony.
Did you guys hear about what Keen Peele's doing?
They're doing like a live 4-hour commentary on the
Are they really?
on the sport game?
The sport.
Was it like they can't?
Are they going to be watching it?
So, well,
and talking
ostensibly.
Is this on a TV
have
channel
you heard
or a radio station?
No, it's actually an ad for Squarespace. Because Squarespace is a web design company, and like they're saying it's so easy to make a website, no matter what bad idea you may have, like you can do it through Squarespace. And so they're playing these two characters who've always wanted to do Super Bowl commentary, but they're not paying for the licenses or anything, so they're not allowed to use Super Bowl, NFL, or football. It's just like, did you see that player make that play? That was sweet when he did the sport.
How are they going to make it funny for 4 hours? Those guys.
Well,
are
so
good.
it's just an ad. They're not really going to do it.
No, like
oh, they are really doing it.
It's like
supposedly. I mean,
stunt.
for all I know, it'll stop after 20 minutes. I fooled you, but everyone's saying no. They're really going to do it.
So if I want to tune into it, what is it on?
Internet.
Yeah, internet.
Oh, just the internet. Okay.
Streaming from somewhere free.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear those Australian guys that always do the...
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that?
The nature documentary? The nature videos, right? Or the...
No, that Snoop Dogg does the nature videos. That shit's hilarious. But
what
these Australian guys, they've been making these little videos about like these great plays at the end of games, and they're like, holy fuck. Like they're hilarious, man. I'd like to see them do a whole game.
Oh, man. Yeah. I was going to complain about something, but let's just jump right into an anger management, our listeners' favorite segment. Bryan Richter, everybody. He's in his famous string of tales here called Anger Management with Bryan Richter, and he tells us about...
Well, do you want me to do the one I was going to do last week, or do you want me to do the one from like 2 days ago?
Hit one hard, whatever you feel more passionate about.
But since it's a Richter-centric thing, do both.
Okay, all right.
You can do one at the beginning, one at the end.
So I'll do the one I was going to do last week because it's short. Like it's been a shitty day. I remember I worked a half day at the old Tard Ranch, and it was a rough wrangle that day. And then I went to jiu-jitsu, and like my head wasn't in it, so like you're getting caught in things like you're fighting a guy like it's like if I gave up the key lock to you, I'm like, John's going to go for a key lock. Obviously he can beat you, but why let him beat you with his favorite move?
Just
like,
not that. Anything but that.
I don't give a fuck if he gets me with a choke or a knee bar or an ankle lock or something, but if he gets me with the key lock, it's like I've failed, right? It's
the
so
look on his face, like the 400th time I hit him with that move.
You're just like, oh, God.
He's so
it's probably a day where John got me with the key lock, Aaron got me with the Ezekiel. I mean, like, it's not like Aaron can't beat you, but don't let him do it with that. And so I'm driving home, and I'm unsatisfied. I'm still stewing a bit, not because I got beat by good guys, but because I got beat in ways I shouldn't have got beat.
Because you had a shitty day.
Yeah. So as I'm driving up Van Buren to go to my house, I just out of the corner of my eye see something fucking weird, and I'm like, what did those dudes have on the end of that fucking stick? And so I back up, and I'm like, that's a fucking cat on the end of that stick.
Like out of their vehicle?
No, they're walking down the street, and they have like a long fucking stick, like a 4-foot stick, and there's a fucking cat on the end of it. And so I
hold on. So describe how the cat is attached to the stick.
It's
impaled.
Fucking dead on the end of the stick.
It's impaled.
They have it on the end of the stick. So
now
there was no answer to that question that wasn't awful.
Yeah,
but I just was curious. I just need to set the scene.
Duct taped,
So I'm right away.
I don't like this.
The keys are out of the ignition. It's in park. The e-brake's on, and I'm out of the truck. And I'm like, I'm like, put the fucking cat down. I just start talking to him. I'm like, put the fucking cat down. And he's like, I didn't kill it. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Put the fucking cat down. So as I get closer, I can see that the cat's already dead. Like, they probably didn't kill it. It's stiff.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't kill it. And I'm like, look, young man, put the fucking cat down. I don't want to tell you again. So he fucking shakes it off the stick just like an asshole, just like shakes it into the street. And then he fucking points the stick at me. And he said, that's what you want, old man? I had just called him young man. That's what you want, old man? And I said, so I fucking grabbed the stick with my right hand and pulled him into a straight left, and I hit him hard as fuck.
Oh.
Right in the mouth, man. And he fell down, and now I've got the stick. So his two friends who looked bold for a second, when I start swinging the stick at him, they're not real bold anymore. So the one kid's laying on the ground, and I probably assaulted an underage kid. Fuck him.
We're looking at that.
And he's my
That
size.
was clearly outside the statute of limitations for any legal.
He was a big kid, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so I got the stick, and I'm thinking about hitting him with it because I'm still really fucking pissed off. And he says, man, you knocked my fucking tooth out. And I, without even thinking about it, I'm like, I should have knocked all your fucking teeth out. And I'm like, next time you fucking pull a stick on me, boy, I'm like, I'm going to shove it up your ass. How about that? And I'm like, you fucking respect life, dude. I mean, I remember that's the last thing I said to him. I'm like, respect life. And I threw him the stick and just got back in my truck and finished driving home. But
now, I mean,
I felt better.
I think both things can be true.
I felt like I got something done.
Both things can be true. A, we probably all did things of similar shittiness at that age. But B, that it would have been good if someone had hit us in the head with a stick. To teach us not to?
You know what? One of my few redeeming qualities is that I never did anything like that to an animal. Fuck you if you did something like that to an animal.
I didn't do that to an animal for sure. I did fry the ants with the magnifying glass. I'm not happy about that. But that's probably the worst animal thing.
I fed a grasshopper to the ants.
I got in a fight with a grown man when I was a kid because and grown man being college student, because he pointed one of those Nerf bow and arrows at my dog. And first thing was, you move that. And when he didn't, the second thing was, you move that now or there will be consequences that I will regret having initiated because you are much larger than me.
I'll fight you over my dog. It'll happen.
It was
right
a
now.
Nerf dart, and I don't care. You don't like right at his face. Fuck you.
I don't do 2 warnings for dog related violence. There's only one.
I was a very small child.
Yeah.
I think that was badass enough what you did do, Eddie.
I bit a dog once.
Well, if he deserved it.
Mark got in a fight.
I mean,
with
at least it's like let the punishment fit the crime. Like
Well,
he understands.
the dog was actually innocent. I was mad at my friend, but it was his dog, and he was bigger than me, so I bit his dog. But
You picked it up and bit it.
I think it was bigger than me too, so I bit it. I was like 3 or 4 maybe,
Oh, my
and he was
God.
like 5.
Okay.
But I bit this dog, but this dog had so much fur that all I did was bite the fur. It's got a mouthful of hair. That's it.
That's hilarious. That is a happy ending. too.
Picturing little Mark all mad, and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking fight this dog." Like,
Savage. Amazing.
oh, that's funny. So I don't have any stomach for that kind of thing, man.
Yeah.
Made me really mad, and I was having a bad day. And then when he put the stick in my face, I'm like, okay,
It's
guess we're
something
gonna
that-
fight. Sorry,
At least you didn't
dude.
shoot him.
You fucked up.
It's a value that bonds a lot of us, I think, in our group of friends generally. That extreme, empathy for animals. I don't know.
Except for me.
Yeah, Mark will eat your fucking.
Well, not Nick Richardson. Remember, Richardson was always like,
yeah.
it's a fucking cat.
Yeah, he
like,
doesn't-
take it or I'm throwing it in the parking
Well, that's the
lot.
thing, though, because to get radical agnostic-y, right? People grow up on farms have a very different attitude towards animals, and the good people on farms, let's even say.
Yeah, I used to kill lots of stuff, rats and frogs, and
I mean,
But you can still
shooting target practice.
You can still be respectful.
yeah, for sure. But in Tom Sawyer,
Swing a dead cat.
Swing a dead
cat to, what was it? He wanted to find? No.
he mentioned
Good luck
swinging
or
a dead
something?
cat as if it was. He used it as like an analogy, in assuming that everyone had done this multiple times a month, was swinging a dead cat.
Well,
Like,
it was part of a
he's-
superstition. It was. I remember because
Yeah, oh,
I
that's
remember when
right.
I was a kid reading it, being like, "This is the most weird ass fucking superstition. Like,
Yeah.
where do you get this superstition? You swing a dead cat, and
Yeah.
then I can't remember what happened.
Because if it's dead, I mean, I get the respect life, but you're not actually hurting anything by fucking with a dead cat. So
Yeah, but I think this was initiated because it was just a cat impaled on a stick.
yeah.
Finding
I'm
out later, oh no, I'm not quite that much of an asshole. I'm just a mildly less asshole, and now I'm going to point a dangerous weapon at you.
Yeah, well, that's what I like. You know, I get
If he wouldn't have
the
pointed
I
at
get
me,
the
he wouldn't
dead-
have got punched.
I get the
Oh, yeah,
dead
I
cat,
know.
like you, or you know, you're seeing the cat and wondering like what the hell's going on, and then stop and seeing. But then I thought once he pointed the fucking stick at you, then that it was on.
I wasn't.
totally
I
justified.
had no plans to punch him in the face until he
Yeah.
pointed the stick at me, and then I'm like, okay, like if you do want it to go this way, then cool. It just
I've
did,
never
bro.
seen Bryan hit someone first for without being threatened. You know.
I was about to do that one drunk.
Yeah, I think the one at Vaudeville.
Yeah, you
I
stopped me.
you.
I was gonna throw him. I wasn't gonna hit him.
I've stopped quite a few people from killing other people. Like, stop them with my body.
So
Yeah,
you
but
told me
that-
you're like,
like-
you're gonna break his head. I'm like,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, but
one
that-
try. I'm like,
but-
his head is gonna break.
But that
We're
was
not-
in that certain element too, like that vaudeville kind of created an atmosphere of that happening because
Oh,
of
yeah.
other incidents and people working there.
Oh yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
there was a
So-
very violent atmosphere. Vaudeville Cabaret was a bar and a music venue here in Tucson, downtown, about 5 years ago, and and it was the main music featured there would be live bands, hardcore and punk rock. And
Well,
metal.
originally it started off way different. It was everything.
Yeah.
They'd have magicians. They'd have
Nice.
burlesque shows.
Yeah.
They'd have whatever. But then the woman who started it got this silent business partner, which he eventually took it over, and then it changed. And
Not so much
we're
silent.
talking about then the second version. Of
Right,
it,
that's
basically.
the only part I ever
Vaudeville
saw.
2.0.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Good call.
Yeah.
And in that during that second period, at least, and I don't know about before, there was, like Mark said, a really violent atmosphere. A lot of stuff happened there.
Well, and I will clarify by saying it wasn't really violent. It wasn't like you would go there and you would be possibly the victim of something. But if you went there and you stirred shit up and you caused something,
You
would
they
almost
didn't,
definitely-
they
It
didn't
was
take
like
any
the-
guff.
it
They
was
were
like
like,
the-
no, fuck you.
It was
would
like
be
the
the
double
victim.
deuce
What's that?
from Roadhouse.
Yeah. Except
Before
worse.
Swayze?
Except, yes, before Swayze.
Yeah, there wasn't and there were no official bouncers. I remember that conversation happening there once. The guy's like, "You don't even have any bouncers," and I'm like, "There's about 50 of them standing around you, bro." Like, everybody down here kind of knows each other, and if you start fucking around in here, you're gonna get the choice if you can go out the front or you can go out the
myself-
back. Like,
I
don't
called myself
pick the back, dude.
I called myself a bouncer, but I was actually a barback bouncer custodian.
And sometime
Bartender.
bartender.
Well,
yeah.
and
Manager.
Well, and really, you weren't a bouncer. You were a door guy.
Right. Door guy.
I've never
Which you were
understood.
just checking IDs and taking money if they were taking money.
You had, like,
you
9
really weren't a bouncer,
No.
although you were a bouncer.
I mean, you're just required to apply an occasional trip or a choke or some kind of fucking.
Yeah, I got my ass kicked a few times, and I usually succeeded in my goals of removing people or whatnot. And then I got a gun pointed at my face out in the back, man.
Oh, that's Tucson, man. If you like, how long do you live in Tucson before you get your first gun pointed at you?
Jeez. I ducked and I was like, "Whoa!"
I wasn't here very long before it happened to me.
I had been aggressively speaking to this guy,
I was just telling
and he pointed it at my face, and I was like,
well-
"Okay, I'm done."
Well, and again, I think that's like a quality of that place, and maybe I don't know because I've worked as a bouncer in lots of places,
But isn't
and I've
Tucson-
never had a gun pointed at me at any time in a professional capacity.
But
you're,
Mark,
still
I've had
the,
a
you're
gun-
still the only one here
I've
that's
had-
been shot.
Yeah.
So, I
No,
mean,
no, that's what,
fucking
I've had
shots.
guns pulled on me at parties and
Yeah.
other places,
That's why I
but
don't
never
go
at
to
a
parties.
job.
Yeah.
I've never had a gun pointed at me at a job.
Okay.
my brother and I were just talking about.
That's wow.
My
Pretty
bro-
safe. I mean, you know the stats. Isn't Tucson the most violent city in Arizona?
Well, according to there was some report that just came out that said that. I didn't look at the report at all. I don't know who made the report. I don't know how they decided whatever
Metrics.
Yeah, but that was a report recently, like in the last week, that came out.
That was a good anger management, Brian.
Yeah. The one from the other night wasn't that interesting, but it was.
We'll
it
hit
was
you
just-
guys with that
it-
next time.
It was just funnier.
Maybe we'll do a Tales of Vaudeville segment.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
we could easily.
I even got a
do
couple of
whole
those.
Show that.
Can I talk to the
show,
manager
The
story?
show could be like more personalized to this region, and that might make people interested in it because everyone's heard of Tucson, Arizona, but nobody's ever been here. right?
Yeah, it's like the show's like where
I think
ideology comes to die.
I'm gonna make a wild guess. Say everyone that's listening to this has been here.
right now.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm as old as the rest of you,
adding-
and I never went to vaudeville. I actually
No, I meant
that's
Tucson.
That's not weird either.
Yeah, no, I'm sure lots of people did not go to vaudeville.
Yeah.
I meant Tucson.
I only had one bar I used to ever go to, and then that bar changed, and I don't even go there much because now I have a house.
Where was that?
And I can pay a lot less and get a lot more drunk. What?
Where was
I used
the
to
bar
like to
that
go to
you
the
did?
Surly Wench.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's kind of a sister club to vaudeville in some ways. Actually, those two bars are kind of bound together by.
I would get drunk and
by
play
a
Miss
cruel
Pac-Man.
fate.
Well, actually, so when vaudeville first opened, across the street from vaudeville was the 00, which Stephanie, who owns Surly Wench, worked at the 00. So
This shit actually is fascinating.
Yeah, not really. Talk about Snorefest.
Yeah.
All right. These Satanists in Phoenix. So this
Fucking
is
awesome.
the Satanic Church, or one of the official Satanic sects.
I think it's Satanic Temple.
Satanic Temple. Thank you.
It's the one that Anton LaVey was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't
That
think
was Church
no,
of
they're
Satan.
they're loose. They are LaVey Satanists, but that's kind of like saying we're Lutheran Protestants, but we're not Lutherans.
Okay. So what did they do up there? Who knows best?
They got in line. They took their place in line. That whole freedom of religion thing that's
No,
become
explain
so
it.
fun.
Explain it to someone who doesn't.
Before the city council of Tucson or Phoenix holds their meetings, they have a little prayer. So, in the interest of freedom of religion, the Satanists petition to be able to do their own invocation before.
And plenty of groups do this. Like everyone signed, like it might be a Native American group or
Muslims do it all the
Buddhists,
time.
yeah, whoever.
What, they come in and add their prayer to the
Well,
invocation?
they
give
sign
you
a little sheet and go, okay, and then this, November 17th, you can come in and your group will lead the prayer.
Oh, is it only one at a time?
Yeah, just one at a time.
Okay.
There's just one opening prayer. Yeah, but
So the Satanists
different
signed
denominations have this. So the Satanists signed up, and they were ready to. It was going to be their turn. And this guy DeCiccio was just fucking flipping out like he couldn't.
A city council member?
Yeah, couldn't handle it, bro. Just couldn't handle it. Like they were going to do a prayer circle around.
They're
the
going to
whole
swing a cat around and
yeah, they're going to do a prayer circle around the whole city to protect Phoenix from what it would invoke. And did you post the invocation that they were going to say?
Yeah.
And it's such a nice thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's all nice
only
things.
It's all about nature.
There's only
and-
two. Like at the beginning, it says something about Luciferian principles or values or something.
Just means it's
And then-
principles of light.
And then at the very end, it says "Hail Satan."
Hail Satan, right.
So that's the only two mentions of that,
But
all in it, and the rest of
But
it's like
they would be wearing their garb, right? Like the goat horns on their head.
I don't even
I
know.
think their garb is. I mean, because there's actually a video of the two of them that I think that were going to do it, actually saying this, and they're wearing black clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
saw
mean?
a
They
girl
look
with
like
goat
goth
horns
kids,
on
maybe,
her.
So-
or
So what
stage
happened as
hands
a
or-
result of this?
So they freak out so bad, especially two of these guys, that they call it to vote. And now there will be no more prayer before the and the Satanic Temple is basically like, well, that's what we wanted.
Oh, of course.
We wanted
Well,
you
no,
to stop
no,
mixing
no,
government
no,
and prayer.
They're not saying that.
They
at
don't
all.
say that out
No?
loud.
They don't say it out loud.
Oh, well.
No, because they were asked. They said, wasn't this just your idea anyways? Just right there. No, that's not what we wanted
but
to do.
what do
We
you-
wanted to come.
but what do you
and
think?
say, well, of course, I agree with what Brian's saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they did not say that.
But
it's
and they
so-
actually,
they did
when
say-
questioned, said, no, that wasn't our intent.
It's weird. And then when an atheist group or a secular group comes out and tries to get something like that to stop, we're all these godless heathens and amoral, and they're so scared of the Satanists, who are actually probably less convicted about that belief than most atheists are about theirs. And they're so scared that they just shut it all down in one shot. Like
that's
they're
the thing, too,
winning the war that secular people were trying to fight.
Well, the LaVeyan Satanists, they're actually, because I think in that prayer they even say something about agnosticism. They're really basically agnostics or atheists. Yeah. But and
They see Satan as a metaphor.
Yeah, it was a philosophy of just elevating man above God,
not as a real
and
being,
per se. And it is very funny. Brian's very right when he points out that when groups like the American Atheists or other secular groups try to fight these things, their tactic is usually to argue, to say we should this should not be allowed. And what the Satanists do instead is say, fine, let's take your reasoning. And now look what happens.
Exactly.
Do you like that?
It's a more complex philosophical...
Do you like apples?
But
how do you like them
Eddie,
apples?
It's a more complex philosophical argument than the atheists are making, right? Because they're actually bringing this idea of rights into question and showing how it has to be applied to all different groups.
Right.
So they're bringing up an important political concept, in other words. In other words, like, if you want Christianity taught in schools, well, then you have to allow Islam to be taught in schools. Because whenever they...
Or they printed that little Satanist children's book for those schools in Florida that wanted to teach some type of Christianity.
Or
I disagree.
in Oklahoma,
It's more
they did the
complicated, though.
satanic statue.
more sophisticated.
I don't think it's... I think it's less sophisticated.
With the little, like it's Baphomet with like two kids. It's like a boy
that
and
was
girl
in Detroit, though, right?
outside.
They
I
unveiled
thought that was
in
in
Detroit.
Oklahoma. I don't know.
I think it's less sophisticated than the arguments that the secularists are making, because the secularists are making the broader argument. They're saying, this is wrong, here's why, here's the arguments. The Satanists are just saying, fine, we'll do it your way. Oh, you don't like it so much? Huh?
Right.
Huh? You
You're
don't like
showing
it?
the hypocrisy of
Right,
the
but
person's
I think
view.
it's a less... It's legit.
It's
but I don't
less
think it's-
sophisticated in that way, but it's more sophisticated in the way of
It working?
actually, it working and to think about it in that way. It's like, okay, instead of me fighting against you, I'm going to use your system.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? Most people don't even think about that. They're like,
Right.
they're too, you
Well,
know.
and in this case, it absolutely exposes you as the hypocrites that you are, because freedom of religion is great as long as it's your religion. But when you actually have to give the freedom, when you have to share the freedom, well, all of a sudden it's not cool anymore. Now we don't want to do prayer.
Right, because you can look at the atheist as saying, I want my beliefs to be instated. You can look at them as saying, by getting rid of prayer, you're instituting atheist belief systems into the town hall now.
Right.
So you could, if you were a Christian,
But that's a very unsophisticated interpretation. And if you're a
But you
Christian who posits that, that's great. But you're not right. You're
But
flat out wrong.
But they are
that's not
getting
freedom,
their way.
But that's not freedom of religion, too. If atheists get everyone to not be able to practice their religion, that's not freedom of religion.
Right.
Freedom of religion would be everyone gets to practice their religion. And I know atheists like to say, we do not have a religion. And so you can say that, but you have a philosophy, which a lot of times can be equated to a religion.
Getting rid of religion is getting your
and so
way.
having
But that's not the
really,
point here.
But the point would really be, if you want freedom of religion, that atheists could come in and at the beginning of a city council meeting for
They could also give
a
an
minute or
invocation.
2 minutes or whatever. Yeah, be like, hey, guess what? Your God doesn't exist. Blah blah blah. This is all nonsense. Blah blah. And they would have to let them speak, and then that would really be.
You could just drop something like a poem by Tecumseh.
Oh yeah,
like
sure.
something real.
Whatever. I mean, whatever you want to do.
but-
you could stand there and say nothing and just like go. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Scream
just to
Helter
be-
Skelter by the Beatles,
Right.
man. Just go off.
Just to be very clear, that the point that the reason I would argue that the Satanists are being less sophisticated but more effectual, so good, good on them.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well-
is because the atheist or the secularist tactic that currently exists as a general rule, is saying that it's expecting a higher level of thought process. It's expecting you to already recognize that this should be problematic, that you wouldn't want every religion in there, and that therefore the only acceptable solution is to remove it from the governmental equation entirely. The problem is that I would argue that the people who are so gung-ho about having religion, they are unsophisticated. So you can say it's somewhat sophisticated to recognize that you're arguing with a 4-year-old, but you shouldn't have to point out the hypocrisy. You should just be able to explain it.
I don't like the assumption that every...
Did Eddie just channel Hitchens?
Yeah.
I think
he
he did,
He
a little
channeled
bit.
Hitchens, Dawkins, Harris, and Marr.
Because I didn't want to go with the unsophisticated argument.
yeah,
Because I'm like, okay, so you're going to be in an argument with a dude who believes in a myth, but you want to have it be a sophisticated argument.
Well, but it's similar to like civilized or uncivilized, or I understand what Eddie's
Perspective.
point is, and it's his perspective. But the reason I'm saying that could possibly be more sophisticated, the simpler thing, is because sometimes simple is.
But that's not what sophisticated
something's
means.
something's
Wait,
too
yeah,
simple
let's
for someone to really that's so smart doesn't fucking think about.
Let's stop the
I mean,
semantic argument of the use
So
of
what the fuck
word.
is sophisticated? I guess we'd have to
Yeah.
define.
My word, I'm just going to go back and not have said that word.
All right, fine then.
My point is just that I object. The reason I just called you all those atheist names was because while I'd say a lot of very religious people are single-minded and plenty of them are just dumb people, like in every group.
I've met some really smart, really religious people.
If you approach them, their arguments from this perspective that they're idiots or fourth graders. That's not. I mean, it's not my style. Arguments, it's not radical.
No, hold on. There are some arguments that are just bad arguments. If you say, I believe it. Here's an argument. I believe in God because I wouldn't like it if he didn't exist. That's a bad argument, and I'm not being like mean or.
Most people don't say that.
Okay, wait. And I qualified what I said. The people trying to push their Christianity in these meetings. I'm not saying all religious people or all people. I'm saying the people making the case of, I want to put my priest up here. Those people are making bad arguments. It's always a bad argument. Okay. The problem is that the atheists come in and say, that's a bad argument. You're not supposed to be, like, you're pushing your religion. That's nonsense. And they don't understand it until someone goes in, well, fine, then I'm going to push mine because it's the same fucking thing. And then they go, oh, wait, well, you don't like that. And those people, they still don't understand it. That not de Blasio, what's his name? DeCiccio still was trying. His first plan before the let's just get rid of convocations, before he finally came up with that, was, well, they don't have freedom of religion. This is just nonsense. He put it in quotation marks and tried to have a thing. He wanted to pass a thing saying only people who were invited by city council people could have their convocation.
I'm pretty sure he actually consulted with the city attorney and got told, nope, gotta let him do it, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And he certainly got a civics lesson on social media about how this shit works. Freedom of religion, bro.
So
Eddie, no, you're 100% right.
Well, except for I would say that the argument that all arguments trying to have prayer before city council are simple or stupid or bad or whatever. I haven't heard all the arguments, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay, fair enough.
I like when you use the existing system and exploit it to your advantage to get to the means that you're looking for.
And then you have whatever's backing that system, then you can use yourself. And then you have that power. Whereas if you're trying to fight the system, then it's a lot harder. You know, you have to work. What's backing you? What is the power that is allowing you to do that? Whereas if you're using the system's power, well, it's the same.
And honestly, the thing I like about it most is it does expose the hypocrisy of the people who always pine and scream for religious freedom. You just really want it for you, and these things make it painfully obvious.
Whenever they let it slip that this is a Christian nation, you understand where they're coming from, where they're saying, yeah, I don't care so much about the Constitution. I'm more talking about don't try to change my vision of what this country is.
If Donald Trump was an atheist and he was screaming about, terrorists like Westboro Baptist Church or whatever, and saying, we got to stop these Christians from coming in, these foreign Christians, these immigrants, we got to stop this. We got to stop allowing them to have, most people would be like, no, and they'd be like, no, fuck you, no, so... And it's the same thing as, the Muslim thing, so whatever.
Did you see the lady from Homeland in front of the congressional committee when she couldn't?
No. I saw Shkreli or whatever.
I don't know how bad they go. Oh, God.
Shkreli.
Yeah, I don't know how bad they cut it up and edited it, but she didn't seem to have many answers for how many people were overstaying on their visas, where any of these people were, how many Americans visited Syria last year, how many came back. She didn't have any answers.
I did see that, and I know what you're talking about, and I agree with you about. But what you don't know and what was not said was she really wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
Her boss was supposed to be there answering those questions, and then sent her at the last minute.
Yeah.
So she had none of that information.
From
her boss hadn't been
Homeland
told.
Security.
So she was sent in there
knowing nothing, having no idea,
and it wasn't the idea. They didn't mean for her to go there and look stupid or not, but they sent her because her boss didn't have the fucking information.
Right.
So her boss, who should have been the one answering that shit and looking stupid, sent her instead.
So she got put in the crow cage,
and
thrown out to the vultures.
Right.
I figured it had been cut up, and there was something I was missing, and I thought I heard Trey Gowdy say or somebody ask her your boss sent you in the place, so you're supposed to have this information, and then she didn't really know anything. I just wonder because he brought up, it would be about the Christians trying to come here. So
No, well, and
just triggered that memory.
So the
Well, and I
headline-
would think that would be the same thing. Like the system that we're supposed to be believing in, that
it's
Trump
not-
is
it's
saying
not
that
working.
he would use, or whoever would use.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with all of this, is the system does not work. They don't have. They're not really doing the research on this shit at all. They're making these fucking groups and setting this
all
stuff up, and then having these people as employees or whatever. But they're not actually
Fighting terrorism.
Yeah, they're not doing shit.
But doesn't
And-
the FBI catch a lot of would-be bombers and shooters?
I think that they were doing that on their own before Homeland Security happened.
Yeah,
The
and
FBI is
the
pretty-
really
the
were.
CIA is the one who's collecting that information. The FBI is not. Unless, well, the FBI might be
it's
collecting
in the
information
country.
here in the
So,
country.
so should we
But
really
so-
be talking about whether or not the Department of Homeland Security was even fucking necessary, or is it just another
No,
big
it's not. And
bureaucratic
in fact,
giant
the
bloated
fucking
thing for Bush to put on the budget?
The airport one. What is it? The
TSA?
new TSA. They don't do shit. They haven't. They
They
haven't.
do
fucking,
lots of things. It's
Well, they
not
do
useful.
lots of things, but they have
do
not. They have not busted one fucking terroristic fucking threat.
No,
They have not
somebody
done-
just blew themselves out of a plane the other
Yeah.
day, right?
And in fact, I think
was Somali
there's been
Airlines.
more TSA agents arrested for illegal activity than anything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
I'll buy that.
No, Brian, there was a headline that said suicide bomber on Somali Airlines passenger jet is the one that was sucked out of the plane. So he sets off, and the headline says,
Yeah.
"This is almost funny."
Well,
and it was this suicide bomber blew up his vest, blew a hole in the jet, and got sucked out. And
He was the only casualty.
and everyone else was fine.
well, yeah. There was also a headline.
It is funny. It's not almost
Yeah.
funny.
If
If anybody else had gotten hurt, then it would be almost funny. Oh,
Yeah.
no one else got hurt? Then it's
On
hilarious.
this show, that counts as
There was
funny.
also some other headline that said something about terrorist passes through Somali Airlines rigorous
security screening. Yeah, they're doing a good job there.
Yeah, we really,
Dynamite.
really knocked it
What's
out.
this,
They're,
dynamite? Yeah, go on.
they're redoing that sign in the office 0 days without an incident. Like, whoops. Take down that 2.
But I do think that we can tie this back to things like the city council thing when we talk about people like terrorists and we talk about rhetoric.
To the Phoenix City Council? I don't know, man. Eddie, I think you're
to-
demonizing these guys.
No. I'm more just saying to finding rhetoric that works and sometimes abandoning rhetoric that doesn't. My point, and I know you don't yell at me for bringing up a thing you retracted, but it is a less sophisticated argument, but it's a much more effective
We're
one.
back.
No,
Why are you-
but it's a much more effective one, and that's awesome.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
We went on a whole nother subject, and Eddie held
No,
us. He
I'm
We're
bringing-
pointed-
just
no.
repeating the last point you made.
No, I'm bringing it back to dealing with terrorism, dealing with these other
It's
ideologies.
the 7th day of February, 2016.
Go fuck yourself. No,
I agree with you, man. You made your point
no,
beautifully.
about rhetoric and finding new ways that work, and I think that's something we should be doing with
to describe our government systems, you mean?
to fixing the problems.
Yeah, but I would say it's not new rhetoric that we need.
Eddie's on
We just
rhetoric.
need to actually do the fucking
No,
work.
I think it
and
is new
that's,
rhetoric.
And that's what our government doesn't do. They're very good with rhetoric. They're very good coming up with rhetoric. Maybe the rhetoric that they've been using is stale, and so if they came
It's not
up with
working as well,
new
man.
rhetoric, then we might believe it more and become more docile and not be like this fucking government sucks and blah blah. But it wouldn't still be doing the work. If they just did the work,
Mark,
then
you're,
we'd
you're,
be
you're,
like,
you're so
I look at-
cynical on this. I got to know what you think. Because on one hand, you seem to be saying, I'm switching it. I'm going Bernie. On one hand, you seem to
was
say...
bound to happen.
On one hand, you seem to say, like, he's going to get crushed by the Clinton machine, and I tend to agree. And that seems like you're saying it like it's a bad thing. But then you also say, if he did win, nothing would happen, and you would be so disappointed with him. So, like, which way is it?
well, what do you mean?
Is he
I'm
the
not-
establishment that's bound to disappoint in sheep's clothing,
No,
or
hold
is
on,
he
no.
an actual
Well,
upstart that the Clinton machine that is the establishment will smash?
Okay, what I'm saying is that the system
Won't
is
allow
more
him.
powerful than any candidate you want to fucking elect.
For sure.
And they're about to prove that. I think.
So what
For
the
sure.
system is doing is trying to squash him, which is Clinton is the system and
So
the
you don't
Democratic
view
Party.
him as part of
so
the system.
if somehow they're not able to squash him and he actually slips through, and again, I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't know what's going to go on. I'm not saying that. I'm not making that claim. But so if he is able to slip into office and get elected, then that will happen. That will be the future of like, well, guess what? He's going to be Jimmy Carter and nothing's going to happen.
How would he get past the system, though? How's he going to get past the superdelegates?
I
It would be a
don't see it
miracle.
happening, but I'm saying if it happens,
that in the system will self-correct, like one way or another. They got a round hole. They're gonna and Hillary's the round peg, right? But if somehow the square peg manages to get there, it's still gonna be hammered through that round hole. It will be round.
Yeah.
And if you think of like even Obama, Obama
saying
had
the
the hope
system-
and change mantra, and he.
But looking back and comparing his campaign to this campaign, you can see differences that we should have recognized, and a lot of leftist liberals did. That he was bullshit.
Certainly,
there was a lot of
but you don't think
campaign
he's
donations
totally
from
bullshit.
corporations.
No,
I don't think he's 100. He's an okay president, but
the problem is the closer that Bernie holds to his ideals, the less he is likely to be able to accomplish. And the more he compromises, the more he'll be able to accomplish.
I don't know. I think he's the only candidate that people are voting on based strictly on his actual ideals.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, but
I mean,
that's
I'm
what.
saying,
But
like,
that's what
Mark, your
people
belief-
voted for.
your belief is
Obama.
that the system can't
Maybe
work.
it wasn't Obama's ideals. Maybe it was his rhetoric. But people voted for him for hope and change.
Oh, it
people
was rhetoric,
Voted
yeah.
for him because they thought
I
he was
know.
going to do what Bernie Sanders has been promising. So I'm just saying, whatever
But
Bernie
he
Sanders
definitely
wants to
didn't.
do,
He definitely.
it's
He
gonna
says
kinda
that
go
in
the
his
same
own
way.
speeches.
I know he says that in his own speeches, and people don't seem to understand that. They're like, no, he's going to do
but
stuff.
you
It's
don't
like,
think-
no, he's even said if he gets no candidate who gets
But Mark-
elected is going to be able to do the stuff he's
Right.
saying.
But
Like
Mark-
it's just like the beginning of maybe possibly
If you elect
down the
Congress
road
people-
it's going to happen.
If you elect Congress people and stuff, then maybe.
Right.
But you don't think the system can work. You think the whole thing is immoral, right? Government laws.
No, I don't think. I'm not going to say that the capitalism or democracy or anything is any more immoral or whatever or
I
can't work
think-
than
I think-
any other system.
I think
the
John
problem is humanity, and that's it. Like people are fucking.
But you don't think things can improve? That's not a real thing. Like, I mean,
I think people can improve if they fucking think about it and they put work to it and try to improve. If you fucking just come up with some system and then fucking have the same old kind of behavior and thinking of humans fucking using that system, then no, it's going to eventually devolve into people are out for themselves and looking for their own interests and blah, blah, blah.
I'm with Beef. Every system's inherently broken because of operator error.
Yeah.
but what's the difference between
Pepcak
broken?
problem exists between keyboard and chair.
There's a distinction
Yeah.
between broken and flawed. And there's a lot of attitude in America that since the system doesn't move fast enough for them, the Tea Party
There
thinks
is
this.
no-
The
there-
liberals think
there
this.
is no
I think
perfect
this.
system.
Right. Everyone is pissed off that change for their group is not coming or is only coming very slowly. And they think this sucks. Fuck this. You can't have what's right in this system in this country. But that's what democracy is designed to be. It's designed to be slow. It's designed to be gradual because it has to represent to some extent the will of all of
Now,
those different groups.
Hold on, though.
You could have a monarch that believed everything you do. It's King Sanders, and he can dictate anything. That's not even Sanders supporters aren't supposed to want that or believe in that. If you support representative democracy,
Then that's,
Now, wait,
that's
hold
when
on.
we get back to the what's better, a benevolent dictator
Exactly.
or democracy.
right?
As a
I would
self,
say benevolent dictator as long as he's
As
actually
long as
benevolent.
he's benevolent,
and,
yeah.
That's the key crux of
but
the
if
problem.
you say a you have to compare two like things. So if you compared a benevolent dictator to a well-functioning representative democracy, then they're the same. You get the same outcome because the outcome
But,
is.
but we don't have
We
a
don't have that,
well-functioning
right?
democracy.
No, that's the point.
So-
But the question is,
my
John-
benevolent dictator is a Trump supporter's antichrist.
right? But I just want to qualify something that you said because you were talking about
Until
democracy.
they feel the effects of it.
And then you corrected. You corrected and said representative democracy. Democracy, it is a common saying, democracy naturally and inevitably devolves into demagoguery because a pure democracy is going to do that.
Right.
That's why we have a representative democracy. So we
That's
try
also
to,
why we have a republic.
Right. Well, a republic is a representative democracy, I think, by definition. But the point I'm trying to make is no system's perfect. No system will ever be perfect. But as we have tried to find ways to fix the problems we know. A dictatorship's great when it's benevolent, but oh shit! So you get a shitty dictator, you're fucked. Okay,
And half the population doesn't think he's benevolent.
Right. Well, right. Yeah.
While he's in office.
So then you go democracy. It's like, well, democracy's great, except then you're fucked if you're a minority. Okay. So we're going to kind of split the middle and do representative democracy. It seems to be the best. So Mark, I know you don't, do you have a bet? Like, because fundamentally we need a government and or we have a worse scenario than if we didn't.
By the way, there's also the argument that cynics will posit, and which is very convincing, by the way, that people naturally want leaders and kings. Most people, or at least many people, at least half of the populace, really doesn't want to be involved at all. They don't want to hear you talk about the election. There's people on Facebook, probably on all of our feeds, who tell people, who post things like, don't talk about politics anymore. All of you politics posting people, I don't want to hear it. Like, people get mad about it. And that's kind of the attitude of just take care of it for me. I'm doing me.
I was hearing Loki's speech in the Avengers the whole time John was talking. You were meant to be ruled.
Right.
Like,
so
in the end, you'll always kneel.
Let's get hard numbers, people. We're going to go around the table. What percentage of the populace is like that? Brian.
I don't care.
Yeah,
John likes to do percentages, man. Like
I paid $10,000 for a Gallup poll, so I have an answer.
But not only is it okay, fine. Even if we knew the percentages,
yes.
I'd be like, what the hell is the point? But we don't even know the percentages. We're pulling these out of our ass, John.
I know.
What good is this doing at all?
Because it expresses the worldview of each of those people, Mark.
But according to you, Mark, though, every poll is bullshit, so this one should be just as viable as any other poll we've ever heard.
I guess it is, but
just
except for it shows how they work.
My answer to my answer to your question is that those answers, those stupid made-up percentages, show the worldview and the attitude of each of us towards our fellow people.
I'll give you
John,
an answer.
I have absolutely no idea.
I'm
admitting it right now.
You have a life of 40-something years that you can't come up with an idea of more than half, less than half. Very few people are like that.
What percentage of people don't want to be involved in politics? Is that the question?
Want to be ruled. They're the sheep class, if you will. Want to be ruled by someone without any input.
Are you telling sheeple to wake up? Wake up, sheeple?
No, I'm wondering how many of us are like
burn that.
I have my
Am I
answer.
not stating it clearly?
I have my answer.
What?
2/3.
66%.
You think want to be ruled
more than
without
half
any
is what
input.
he's saying.
I'm saying 2/3, and I'm going to tell you why. No. 2/3 of registered voters don't vote. That's just registered voters that don't vote. 2/3 of registered voters. So at least 2/3 of us want to be ruled. We don't give a fuck what happens.
I thought it was like, wasn't it like
a good way to come up with an answer?
I would say that's a good way, except for I don't think it equates. I don't think because you don't vote, you want to be essentially want to be. I think a lot of those people would want there not to be any fucking politicians at all. So then they don't want to be ruled.
I will contend philosophically that if you don't have the gumption to go out and vote, then you don't want it too fucking bad. You know what? You know
what this sounds like? It sounds like the debate of like, but we could be sitting here saying who wants, like, let's say that we're talking about a specific person.
All I did was answer the question.
I know.
No, I understand, but Mark, I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to say, even though we're going out of order, then I'm going to say maybe 10%, because I think if you asked people individually, would you like to be ruled without any input from yourself at all? Most people are going to say, no, I would not like that.
Yes, but what people say and what they do are two different things.
I'm answering my question.
I want to make an analogy.
In like what I would think people would answer. And I think they would answer that.
It's a different
question. Whether they actually would do anything about it or, that's a different story. But actually wanting that, no, I don't think most people
Hold on, though.
We're talking about
But if you walk up to a racist and say, would you like all these people wiped off the planet? They're not going to say yes.
Right.
They're not going to say that. They're never going to say that.
But they might go along with that policy.
They might go along with that policy.
I'm not saying they won't go along with it. I'm just saying if you ask them and deep down whether they want that or not, they don't want that.
But it'll be a pride thing that they say because they're like, I might as well want it because I don't do anything.
I have an analogy. The analogy I want to draw is this. Imagine a person who is too lazy to get a job. And I know that's a Republican talking point, but we're not getting in there. Right. We're just saying they're too lazy to get a job. Now you ask them, do you want to be poor? None of them are going to say, yep, that's what I want. But but the natural consequence of the things they want is that poverty.
There you go.
So what I think Bryan is I question the numbers, but obviously the numbers are somewhat made up anyway. So
it's just his opinion.
Yeah, it's a wiggle room anyway. So I don't want to argue.
Wiggle.
But is to say
wiggle away.
I do think that there's a fundamental difference between what people say they want and what are the natural consequences of the things that they do want.
That was the implication of my question.
But it's just like everybody's Facebook self and then their actual
We're
self.
asking you to guess.
No, but
that
again,
in their hearts,
again,
who would prefer to be? How many? Would prefer?
See, this is the problem with this: is there's so many fucking different possibilities.
I know,
and different qualities that affect it. Like
that's why we're here to
let's
sort
go
that
with,
shit
right,
out.
Let's go
solve
with
the
Eddie's
problems
thing.
of the world.
Let's go with Eddie's thing. You ask most people whether they want a job, and I'm saying
no,
that,
whether
like,
they want to be poor.
No. You ask most people. Because his was if they're asked people who are too lazy to get a job whether they'd want to get a job.
No, it was
whether they want to be poor. That's what
was
he
the question.
said.
No, that was the second part. The first part was asking people if
He
they
never
want to get a
mentioned if
job,
they
and
wanted a job.
then
no,
He
it was
just said if
no,
they
no, okay.
people
It was
who are
asking
too lazy to get a job.
people who are too lazy to get a job,
Right.
if they'd want to be poor. Okay, I'm going to advance it even further. You ask most people if they want to have a job. No, they don't want to have a job. They want to be able to live their life and fucking do what they want to do and blah, blah, blah.
I'll answer
now,
that right now.
If you go, okay, well, if you don't have a job, if you don't go, do you just go do this job so that you're not poor? And then they go, yeah, that's why I go. You go, okay, well, so these people that don't have a job and are going to then be poor if they don't get like government assistance or aren't helped out by their parents or whatever, it's like, okay, so if you were going to be poor, if you didn't have that help, would you go get a job? And then you go, no, so you'd rather be poor? Well, no, I wouldn't rather be poor. But then you ask some of those people who say, yeah, I don't want to be poor or whatever, but I don't want to get a job. Well, would you rather have a job or would you rather be poor? Some of those people are going to be like, I'd rather be poor. Now, if you say, but if you clarify it the other way, you know what I mean? Where if you don't do this, would you rather be poor? It's like, no, I wouldn't rather be. Well, I'd rather be poor than not have a job. Or you know what I mean? So,
right.
Like, there's people that really would be fine with living in a fucking cabin out in the woods, getting their own water, hunting, blah, 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 rather than fucking working at IBM. There's, you know what I mean? So there's all these different fucking factors that influence how someone's answering this question that you're fucking asking.
Well, but the
all right. I don't, Eddie. What's your percentage?
It's going to be close to Bryan's. I actually would go higher. Personally,
higher than Bryan.
I think most people, if given a if they reject it, if they hate that leader or something, that's a whole different ballgame. But just the idea of wanting to be led,
want a benevolent dictator.
Yeah,
let's say.
I mean, I think that's in part the system of the military. I mean, the military is set up on the premise on the idea that like your guy's in charge of you, and we extol that as a
do
virtue.
what you're told,
and
regardless of what you think.
And democracy, like we
there are rules for
right.
Okay, so Bryan and Eddie are on that spectrum. I said like 10%, which is a lot less. What do you say, John?
Haha, now you have to answer. Haha.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be above half. Because when you think about the whole world, you think about China. They've done. There's some.
I was just straight up thinking about Americans.
Yeah,
I wasn't
I
thinking
know.
about the whole world.
I was just thinking
Wait,
about
well,
America.
all right,
countries?
America. All right.
Wait, I'm confused.
All right,
are there other
America.
countries in the world?
Yeah, I thought we were just talking about us.
Percentage of people in America. Yeah, there's going to be very different answers if you ask them and if you can see into their heart.
No.
Seeing into their heart, I would say, I don't know, like maybe 50%. I want to go.
Okay. So you guys are all 50 or higher. I'm the only one that's lower than that. Now let's go around the table and ask, Bryan, would you like that? Would you like to be ruled?
We're not asking the question. Though. We're talking about seeing into their hearts. That's the thing.
Well, but you can't see into their hearts, so that's fucking not even reality.
It's speculation.
So I'm answering the question in. If you ask people what would they answer, and I'm saying it's about 10% would actually admit to yes, I would like to be ruled without
2%.
And you're so now it's changed. What happened?
Well, they would admit to it. Nobody.
Well,
it's
no,
like
but
I
I'm
said,
answering
nobody's
the
going to
question
admit to that.
Right. So if no one's going to admit to
my
it,
whole
how are you guys
contention,
coming up with 66%?
my whole contention, Mark, is you can only judge a motherfucker by his actions, not by what the fuck he says. And I think you've made that same fucking argument like a million times. You can't judge a motherfucker by what he says because most of us are
Brian,
full of shit and we don't even know ourselves.
Brian, I would completely agree with you, except for this question isn't about your actions. This question is some guy with a clipboard coming up to you on the street and asking you.
Okay.
Yes, it is, because that's what a poll fucking is.
Okay, let me just make an analogy. So if you ask me,
That didn't go well last time. I don't know
my
if that's a good
my actions will dictate it. If you ask me, do I want to get beat up, and I say no, and John comes over and starts smacking me around, and I just let him do it, my actions tell you that maybe I do want to get fucking beat up. Because if you ask me, do I want to get beat up, and I say no, and John comes and starts smacking me around, I'm going to fucking fight with John, so I have demonstrated that I do not want to be beat up.
I was the guy with the clipboard asking you the question if you want to be beat up.
Mark.
You said no. You said no. I left.
Okay.
I walked down the fucking street.
Time out.
John comes and beats you up. I don't see that.
Time out.
So I'm just going with
Wait,
your answer.
time out though.
Mark.
Time out though. That's a different premise. When you,
No, it's the exact
no,
same.
No. We are answering the question premised on what these people, what do you think most people really think, right? You're answering it based on what you think they would answer. That is a legitimate answer.
Yeah, there's two different things.
But what
I said
would like
1% on one, 50% on the other.
I would like to ask you, Mark, and again, it's a made-up number because obviously we don't have any stats. It would be very difficult to but your view of people as a concept, your view of people and how people work. What do you think is the real number, regardless of what, regardless
of what they
would say to the guy with the clipboard?
Again, let me answer. I think most people would not like to be ruled without any input.
Okay.
Now, whether they would do anything against it, whether they would actually try not, would they accept it if it happened? Then yes, that percentage is a lot larger. But would they like it as opposed to not like it? No, they would not like it. They would accept it.
What percent?
But they would not like it.
You said less than half would like it to be ruled.
I'd say about 10% would like it.
So the same amount that would answer. So that in general, people are always honest about that question. Because you said 10% would answer yes if you asked them, and 10% are actually like that too.
I would say even less than 10% would actually answer that they would like it.
Okay,
so
I'd say 10%,
maybe 2% would say that they like it.
Good.
Maybe 15% would actually like it.
All right,
But
fine.
I have a question though, because
and 45, 50, and 65% would accept it.
Right.
Probably
Okay.
70% would accept it.
That's what. So,
But liking, no. So that was my problem with
All
accepting
right,
you got it.
and
so then
liking.
let me just clarify. So we were having a bit of a semantic disagreement.
Yes.
Because what I was thinking is who will accept it.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and you're saying who would like it.
Like it.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
accept
So
it.
then now there is a difference because I'm thinking
Accept
when
it.
you
Yeah,
say
I'm like 70, 80%.
because when you say who would want it, in my mind I thought who would just be willing to stand by and let it happen.
Yeah, okay.
So you're
There are
kind of
three
right. in
different
that
questions,
They are
yeah.
three different questions, really, because when you think about it like that,
I'd say
how many
80
people
for
would
that.
like it? I probably agree with Mark's 15%.
Yeah.
like they wouldn't. Not many would like it, but a lot would fucking take
Yeah.
it.
but wait.
And a lot of those people
No,
that
no.
would like
We're gonna
it
move
still
on.
wouldn't answer in the affirmative.
Hold on.
They'd
At
be like,
one
no,
point-
I wouldn't like that.
Hold on.
Although, if it happened, they would like it.
Hold on. At one point, we brought up the idea of it being a benevolent dictator, so a dictator with whom you agree.
Yeah.
In that
there's
circumstance,
four questions.
Yeah, in
There's
that
four
circumstance,
questions.
I think the number is 80. I think the number of people who would reject the idea of a benevolent
You think
dictator.
80% of people we got four
Arbitrary.
fucking people right here who never agree on anything, dude. Like, there's no way
but that's
80%
not-
of people are going to
right,
be like, yeah,
certainly.
this guy's
Yeah,
the
but
shit.
see, now you're dealing with.
It's not
Although
happening.
Kings-
I
I
think
mean,
back to
one
like
very
the
popular.
Hagakure,
Depends on what issues
the
he runs
47
on.
Ronin. You know,
If he runs on issues like, okay, who loves ice cream?
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
likes puppies?
Yeah.
Who
The 40
who's into boobs? All right, yeah, vote for me.
All right.
Ice cream, puppies, and boobs.
it sounds like Trump's campaign
Yeah,
mostly.
pretty
a
much.
little more vitriol.
Look at my wife. She's hot.
She's
look
hot.
at my daughter. I'd bone her.
You want some big tits in the White House?
You don't
or
want
what?
these beautiful broads in that White House.
Yeah, you want Bernie's old bag in there.
Yeah, I can't wait till Trump insults Jane Sanders. It's coming.
I feel like Bernie will
That'll set him
I feel
off.
like that
Fight
will
words.
that'll be the first time he'll get personal.
He'll give that stink eye like he did at the debate, and he'll go, "Fuck you, Trump," and the whole nation will be like,
he'll do
did
like
his
he
voice
did.
pretty
He'll do
good.
like he did when that one senator was talking shit about gay people. He'll come and be like, so wait. I just want to be very clear here. Did you just insult my wife? Like, and then and then he'll.
Don't make me come over there.
Yeah, no, because do you remember when he insulted when that guy was insulting gay people? And it was during one of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell discussions or something. He said, "So just I want to be clear here. You're saying that gay people are the hundreds of millions of gay citizens who contribute every day and want to serve their country. You're saying that they don't have value?" And I feel like he would do the exact same thing. So wait, he's going to do that. Did you just insult my wife?
I can't talk. I can't talk about it because it's starting to really the Hillary's fucking tactics are really starting to get under my skin. But
so I barely looked at Facebook today, but yeah, there was like Gloria Steinem.
Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about right now.
Any woman that would not support Hillary is like
Madeleine Albright
to women, Madeleine Albright too.
Madeleine Albright said there's a special
yeah.
place in hell for women who don't support each other. In other words, and this is at a Hillary Clinton rally. Hillary's standing 5 feet to the left. Anyone who doesn't support fellow women, there's a special place in hell.
Press secretary? Is that
no. She was the attorney general or the first female. It wasn't that. I think it was attorney general. Okay. And
I thought
Secretary
of State.
It's not. She was. No. I don't think she was attorney general.
Well, I don't think it was attorney general.
I don't think she was secretary of state. Eddie's getting it. I was hoping he'd have it by now.
Secretary of State.
Oh, good job, guys.
In office, January 23rd, 1997 to January 20th, 2001.
Yeah.
What was before that? Does it say?
What do you mean?
What office did she hold before that? She wasn't a teacher.
Maybe she was. How dare you?
She might have given a few spankings.
She was the ambassador to the United Nations.
Oh.
And then she was the Secretary of State.
Oh.
Back when we actually gave
first female Secretary of State. I guess.
Back when we didn't just spit on the UN all the time.
And so Albright said that, and Gloria Steinem said when in an interview with Bill Maher that he said Bill asked her why is the majority of women under 34 voting for Bernie Sanders, supporting Bernie Sanders, and she said because that's where the boys are. So this feminist icon, 81-year-old Gloria Steinem,
did she not take her Alzheimer's meds?
Said that. Took away the political sovereignty of mind of any woman under 34 voting for Bernie Sanders, and implied that she was only there to get with dudes, because that's where the dudes were. Honestly, and Bill Maher said, if I had said that to you, you would have hit me in the face. She just laughed.
That need the cock vote's pretty strong.
That it's not rock the vote, it's cock the vote. Oh man, Bernie, there's a poster in that, buddy. Cock the vote. The all those kind of hardcore militant fringe feminists, I think, kind of do that. They take any power away from their fellow women by saying they only did it because of this. They have no fucking free will. Well, it's because of the patriarchy. It's because of this. It's because of they're there for the boys. They always take power away. Those fringe feminists.
But even because it is the fringe, and it's the establishment too, in a way. Because all of the women I know that are very feminist, they call themselves that, and they're under 34 or over 34, they're all voting for Bernie.
Yeah.
And they all were pissed off. I saw three different women who are hardcore feminists on there yesterday quoting Steinem and just being very angry about it.
I haven't seen anybody saying anything.
It is human nature.
I didn't even know what happened until you told us today. Sorry.
I just saw it on Facebook.
It is human nature to have in-group and out-group. And while not universally the case, it is often the case, like enough that it's going to happen with someone, just not necessarily with any individual person, that they're going to treat the out-group like shit. And they're going to narrowly define what the in-group is. No matter what politics you are, no matter what, if you have a group and you've defined, and someone defines the boundaries, if somebody sees you outside those boundaries, you're an asshole. And so within the realm of, say, feminism, it does not surprise me any more than it surprises me when somebody gives somebody shit for not being conservative enough.
Right. Or
whatever. Hillary is a woman, and within the confines of certain views of feminism,
that's enough of a reason.
That's enough. And if you support anyone else, you're in the out group now, and you're an asshole. And your reasons must be because you're garbage. You're a garbage person.
I'm not going to get into that because let them. But Gloria Steinem today apologized because she did? It was indefensible. I mean, what she said, you can't say that about women as a feminist.
But that's to her credit, though. To her credit,
fair enough.
Everybody says stupid shit. Yeah. I do it all the damn time.
And the quote is, she said, "In a case of talk show interruptus, I misspoke on the Bill Maher show recently and apologized for what's been misinterpreted." Oh, I didn't read that part, as implying young women aren't serious in their politics. Whether they gravitate to Bernie or Hillary, young women are activists and feminists in greater numbers than ever before. End quote.
That's not an apology. That's horse shit.
Really wasn't.
That's a pile of ass.
Misinterpreted.
You misinterpreted what
Whatever.
I said.
As
I'm sorry,
implying-
you got upset by me.
As
telling me to fuck
implying young women aren't serious.
you-
You said it
You know,
demonstrably.
you know what I want to say to her right now, and she'd probably hate it. Man the fuck up. Own your shit.
Wow, misinterpreted. I hadn't seen
Well,
that part.
Man
was
the fuck
spelled
up.
MYN, it'd be all right.
Man the fuck up.
But so just to stay on that and kind of derail, I guess. So when David Bowie, died, and then there was that scandal about he had supposedly had sex with this young groupie at the time, and there was a whole big on statutory rape, blah blah blah, whatever. If that same woman, okay, think about it. If a woman makes a decision, and she's underage to have sex with someone overage or even someone still underage or whatever, it's like there's this onus of you're taking advantage. You have this power. And you're taking power from her. She's submissive to your power because you are older,
but in most cases, that's true.
And she really doesn't really want that. Wouldn't want to. Isn't really making a choice from the right perspective or thought or whatever.
But where do you place the age then?
Well,
age of consent.
No. I'm not even talking about age of consent. What I'm talking about is so we take that choice away from those women. So, we're supposedly all about women's choice, and feminists are very much about women being able to make their own choices. And if that same girl who's 15 or 14 decides, I'm a lesbian, or I'm a man trapped in a woman's body,
we respect that choice.
They would respect those choices, but they will not.
I was really wondering where you were going with this, and I'm like, well, you're not making any fans, but I see where you're going.
But I don't think most women would respect their choice to have surgery before 18, because there's an age of consent for medical.
But would they have respect for that woman who's a man trapped in a woman's body having sex with a woman? Or sex with another man,
feminists
but because
is the woman a lot older than her too?
Yeah,
because I still think they would beef at that because they would probably think that she used her influence to convince her that she was a lesbian.
The older person broke the law.
I mean, I still think they would beef about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really sure, but again, back to the David Bowie thing. So the groupie was backstage at a fucking, and I don't even think it was a concert. I think it was like at a fucking club, like where
so she was
supposed
VIP
to be.
in
She was VIP in it, and she did not tell David Bowie what her age was. David Bowie was young at the time; he was like 23 or 24.
Yeah,
it's close enough for government work.
Those
under those heightened circumstances. With the aphrodisiac of Bowie in
that's
the
all
air.
the time.
I mean, what are you going to do?
But the thing, so my main point is, so this girl, the whole falling out happened because this girl came out and said that she lost her she lost her virginity to him, but she was happy about it, and she's in her 60s now, I think, maybe in her 70s, and she's still happy about it, and she was like, no, it was a good thing. Like, yes, this happened.
I don't know any girls that are happy about their first.
Well, but there were plenty of women and men coming out saying, no, that's fucked, no. And so then what they're saying is that, no, I'm sorry, you think it was good and you think you're happy about it, but no, you're just under some fucking...
Mark, I get the point you're trying to make. The point you're trying to make is that groups, feminists are not alone in this. The idea, but
I agree with your thing about groups. I agree, and I'm not. Well, let me finish my point because. So I'm not attacking feminists. I'm attacking, as you said, every group has their thought,
and my point is that's a terrible example. My point is that's a terrible example, Mark. Now I get
how is that a terrible example?
The point you're trying to make. Well, I'd like to.
Well, I'm here. Okay. I'm listening.
The broad point you're trying to make is that feminists and many other groups, but feminists will support. Like they say, they're in favor of choice, but fundamentally the idea is what has to be the right choice. And if we disagree with your choice, well then fuck you. There's a pretty big fucking difference, though, just fundamentally conceptually with Like, an example that would be akin to what you're describing would be, say, abortion. Where if women have the choice, and then somebody says, well, I didn't get an abortion because I think they're immoral, some feminists might pile on that person and say, fuck you, because you're making the wrong choice. Abortion's not immoral, right? That's an example akin to what you're describing. The situation you are describing, they're not shitting on her for making the wrong choice per se. They're shitting on her because the idea is separate from her gender, her age is a problem.
Well, they're shitting on Bowie.
But okay,
Well, right.
okay, but
But
again,
that's why I'm saying it's a bad
again,
example.
Eddie. So her age is a problem. Okay, now if she, however old she was when she made this decision to sleep with Bowie and lose her virginity, what if she had made a decision to have an abortion? What if she had made a decision that she was a lesbian? What if she had made a decision? My point is, you take. At some point, there's a line where you go, no, you don't have the right to make your own choices. Those choices that you are trying to make are not available to you because you are not old enough. You have not reached this thing.
Are you disagreeing with that concept or with
Yes,
the
I'm
people
disagreeing
who
with
use
that concept because I'm not the one saying you have to be this old to fucking ride this ride. You have to be
But
you
Mark,
have to be this old to do this
You
or
have
that.
to choose
There's
an
fucking
age to make a
12-year-olds
law.
fucking fighting in Africa in wars that they have
And
in
that's
the past.
legit to you.
And they have
You have to choose an age to make a law so that you protect all the millions of young ones that weren't making a free choice, that were coerced by an older predator. You have to protect those people, and if that means getting a 28-year-old in trouble for fucking a 14-year-old, well, so be it.
Okay, so John, but let me clarify again. This woman has now reached the age of being in her 60s.
Yes, I agree.
And she's still okay with that choice she made. But people are still saying
I know
that choice she made was terrible and she was not in her right mind.
In that
and she
particular
made the wrong choice.
Fine.
So,
in that particular case, it's definitely a gray area. And if you're an
it's
adult
a gray
now,
area. She made a fucking choice. She's okay with it 50 or 60 years later, and it's not a gray area. It's, yes, then you have the right to make your own fucking choices.
Mark,
and we should respect that and go,
just calm down.
No,
It's all right. I'm
and we should respect that. Then later on, 50 or 60 years
Was
later, go,
Elvis still around at that time?
I don't think he was dead yet.
Then I think there is gray area because she should have fucked Elvis. I'm just saying.
Here's the thing. You can say somebody made a poor decision, even if they're okay with it. Let's say somebody at the age of 14 did a bunch of drugs and shared needles. They're happy that they had that experience, and they happen to have not had any negative consequences from it, so they're ecstatic at their decision. But I can sit here going, hey, first of all, as a 14-year-old, you shouldn't have been doing a bunch of drugs, and second of all, you did that very poorly. I can talk shit about that.
You guys are going to have to figure it out after. That was our show. We'll be back next time. We got more anger management, a bunch more interesting subjects that we weren't able to get to, so a lot of stuff for next week, guys. I had a lot of fun, so listen to us on episode 50 next week.
Go Coldplay!
Hail Satan.
Coldplay.